Well, hello, school counselors and school counselors to be. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. And today we're going to be talking about some essential notes that you can save from your graduate studies program for professional school counseling that will be very beneficial for you to have as you transition into your career job as a school counselor. I'm so grateful for one of my viewers that reached out to me that asked this question and wanted me to do a video on this. And so I have about 12 things that you can start to gather and just keep in mind as you're going through the graduate studies program. Maybe you're getting ready to enter into it, or maybe you're already in it. At least you can start organizing some stuff and getting it together. So let's not prolong the time. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, as well as make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, you guys, let's get into it. So I actually kept my graduate studies notes in two different places. One of the places is in these two binders. So I have a big binder right here, and a pretty nice size binder up at the top. And so these are notes that I have saved from the program that I was in, that I thought was just very essential for me to have, so that as I transition into my, as a professional school counselor, that I can always go to, just in case I need to pull, some things out. And so this is one of the places that I kept all those notes. And I'm sure that there were plenty more things, but I just picked out things that I thought was essential for me to save. And we're going to be getting into that list that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, so that you guys can start going through your notes and saving things that is going to be essential for you. Another place that I kept notes from my graduate studies program is on my flash drive. So, and I will show you guys exactly what that looks like a little bit later on in the video. I have it organized per class that I took, and so it's just a whole lot organized than what's in these two binders. Okay, right now I'm going to share with you guys 12 things that I think is just important for you to keep in mind as you're going through the graduate studies program and you're getting all these different resources and things for you to save, so that you can always refer back to. And I'm also going to show you guys some examples of these things as well. So the first thing that I have written down here is any good websites that you come across that will be beneficial for you to refer back to. So an example of that is just having something that it has a list of all of the websites that you came across through your graduate studies program that you felt like it would be very beneficial for you to have. And another thing that I want to point out, when you are putting the websites on a Word doc, or maybe you're handwriting them, whichever way you prefer, you want to make sure that you title it. Now, this is something that I believe that my professor gave out to us, but I could easily do this if she did not give it to us like this. But it gives you the title of the website and roundabout like what it's going to be covering, and then of course you have the website address. I'm going to kind of scoot up on that. So for instance, it has helping children after the suicide of a parent, and then you have a link. You have things like counseling approaches for different groups of children. You have that. Approaching the parent when they are the problem, and so you have a link for that. And so that was just something that I found very beneficial to have. It's something that I can easily go to, because you just never know, like, what if I do come in contact with a student that lost their parent due to suicide? I can easily just click on this website if I have it in my Word doc, which I don't think I have this in a Word doc, so I would have to type this in. I don't know. I have to probably look in my on my flash drive. But either way, whether I type it in or I have it in a Word doc and I'm able to click it, it can take me to this website, and it's able to show me like different coping skills and how to help that student. So that is just something to keep in mind. So yeah, you can easily, like I said, get a Word document and you can save it in your flash drive. And anytime that you come to a website that you think is beneficial throughout graduate school, you can always refer to that document, copy and paste it in there, and save it, and you will have it. So I wanted to show you guys that. Another thing is any assignments or projects that you will do. You guys, I have plenty of projects that I've saved on my flash drive, and I do have a couple of them where I saved. I know like one of my projects that I had to do in the program was for, oh, I can't even remember the class, but we basically had to make this big notebook full of different resources that students can go to, parents can go to get, different things that's going to help them, whether it's for food, clothing, maybe money assistance. And so we had to pull information from different surrounding counties, and we had to save it. I could go get that right now. In fact, I'm going to go get it to show you guys. So this is my resource book, my crisis resource book. And that's actually the class that I was in, was crisis. And so we had to gather a book that would give different resources, whether it was, like I said before, clothing, food, money assistance to students and parents in the surrounding counties. So I have about 15 counties that is in this book. But you guys, this thing is heavy. All right, this thing is so heavy. It doesn't make sense. But I definitely kept this, and I'm glad that I did. Now, have I had to use it yet? No, because I have it here at the house, but maybe if I brought it to my job, I would be able to use it. But y'all, this is way too big to be hauling to my job. So it stays here, but it's just something that I'm absolutely proud of and I'm going to keep. I want to show you guys another project that I did. So I had to design, this was from my group class, and I had to design a group. So I focused on teenage girls dealing with self-esteem. And that's what it was all about. And so I had to go through that whole process of setting that up. And I was very proud to do this. And so I kept it. I can actually implement this at the school that I am at, maybe adjust some things so that it can be age appropriate. But this is something that is good to go. I actually based this project on middle school girls. And yeah, so I can easily adjust this to fit my primary setting. But it's something that is good to go if I ever were to go to a middle school to work. So those are 2 projects that I decided to keep, and there's plenty more projects that you will find yourself doing. The next thing is activities you come across or the professor does. You guys, you will find when you are in the graduate studies program that you're going to come across a whole lot of activities. Whether you're searching the web, maybe your professor is doing it, or maybe you even go to a conference and you're picking up activities from there. And so you want to save those activities because they can be very useful for you to use when you're doing your individual counseling or small groups. Just to give you guys an example of that, I know when I was doing my practicum, the teacher there was doing an activity, and I decided to write that activity out because I don't think I've ever heard of the activity when they did it, but I wanted to write it out so I didn't forget it, and I put it in my page protector and I put it in this book so that whenever I open this book and I see it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this activity at some point. But it's good because it jogged my memory and I wrote down exactly what it was. So for instance, this talks about the power of the mind. So if I'm doing a lesson to talk about mindfulness with my students, I might want to do this with them. And so it basically is that you give the student a string with maybe a ring or something on it. You think to move the ring back and forth or side to side, and you will see where the ring should do it anyway. And so I thought that was very, powerful. When we were in there, I was able to see it actually work. And it was like, oh man, this is a really good activity. Also, another activity that we did was having the student hold their hands out and then asking them to think of something that they love, but don't say it. They have to just think it and really just ponder on that. And then you try to push their arm down, and it's not supposed to go down as much. But when you ask them to think of something negative and really ponder on that, and then you pull their arm down, it's supposed to go down a whole lot further than them thinking of something that was positive. And so I thought those were 2 great lessons to do with students. And so I had to write those things down. So that might be something that you should do. I even went to conferences where they gave out like different objects for activities. I saved those things as well. So that is something that you can do. Another thing is PowerPoints on different subjects that you have done or others have done. So I actually went to a conference, and one of the sessions that I went to was talking about addressing anxiety in elementary students. And I'm actually so happy that I kept this because I'm right now working in an elementary setting. And so this was something that I kept, and so that I'm able to refer back to. So you either might have a hard copy, which I only have a hard copy of this, but you might run across actual, PowerPoints that you can save to your flash drive. That is something that you can do as well. And so when I show you guys on my computer what that looks like, then you guys are able to see in there. And also any PowerPoints that you do on certain subjects. This is actually a PowerPoint that I saved from one of my classes talking about the introduction to play therapy. As you guys seen, if you watched my video that I was introducing a counseling tool, I actually talked about how I really love play therapy. And I'll go ahead and add that on the card above. And so that was something that I wanted to keep because there was some really good information from that. So the next thing is handout, paperwork, toolkits. So anything that you come across for you to have. So there, I'm going to show you guys some of the handouts that I came across that I wanted to keep. So things like this. Time to get creative, 15 techniques for working with children and families in crisis. I don't know where I received this from. It gave me a lot of different activities and stuff and information on helping, students through crisis. So those were handouts that I decided that I wanted to go ahead and keep so that I can refer back to it. I received handouts on stress. I received handouts on anxiety, just different things. And so I wanted to keep those things. I also received handouts that talked about RTI 2B, implementation manual. And so I wanted to keep that because I really didn't know too much about RTI B. And to be honest, I'm still learning that. But I wanted to keep that information because I wanted to be able to go back to it whenever it is that I have a question or I need to jog my memory on some stuff. So those are just some of the many handouts that you're going to receive. The next thing is conferences and helpful information there. And I kind of touched on that a little bit already, but when you go to conferences, guys, there's going to be plenty of things that they're going to be giving you. And I'm going to go ahead and give you some examples of that. So the conference that I went to, they gave this teen sexual health education toolkit. It even came with like a little flash drive and activities and different things like that in there. And if I didn't go to the conference, I probably wouldn't have been able to get a hold of this toolkit. But this is something that I'm going to keep. So those are things that you can keep. I also was able to get some information on just school counseling, to be a school-based child-centered play therapist. And so I wanted to keep this and hold on to this so that I can refer back to it. And it also has a lot of other great information on there as well. So it has some great information on that as well. Another thing that I listed on here is counseling tools, models, paperwork, objects. I've already touched on that a little bit before, but I'm going to go ahead and just reiterate when you're talking about counseling tools. So anything that you can use with your students that will be beneficial. So some counseling tools that I came across, and this is just on paper, it's things like this. Using one of these feelings meters, asking the kid, okay, where exactly are your feelings today when they first come in? And then you can ask them when they get ready to leave, now show me how you feel. This is a counseling tool that you can use. So, and there's many more other things. I know when I went to conferences, they actually gave out some counseling activity tools, and I kept that. Of course, you want to keep any notes that you took. I actually have a notebook paper where I wrote different things on throughout the graduate studies program, and I'm pretty sure I have plenty more papers in here. Yeah, plenty more just notebook papers that was like, oh my gosh, I gotta jot this down. I might want to refer to this. Let me jot that down. And so I kept them so that I can always, and I put them all in one area so that I can always pull them out, look at them, and jog my memory. So that is something that you might want to do. So you have notes you took that seemed beneficial, any surveys or quizzes or inventories or assessments that you come across that you can do on your students, you want to keep. And I have plenty of those in here. So I have like college and career readiness inventories. I have suicide assessments. I have a bullying harassment assessment. And so these are different things that you're going to come across, hopefully, so that you can, save it, because you might want to refer to. Maybe you're doing your own research. I think I said this earlier. Save some of that stuff. There's many times where because I was doing different projects for my classes, and I would have to research different things, I would come across different websites that had like a PDF of different things. I would actually save the PDF to my flash drive. So that is something that you can do. Another thing that you're going to want to keep is your school counselor standards and competencies. That is very important to have with you. If whatever state that you're in, you want to look at the school counselor standards on there for teaching students. Put those in there. You want to make sure that you have that so you can refer to it. Also, another thing that you might want to do is you might want to keep some books from your graduate studies program. So a couple of books that I have kept for my graduate studies programs are these right here. So this first book is a practical manual for job hunters and career changers. I want to keep this book because, for one, it's very beneficial. Like, I was finding things in here that I was like, wait a minute now. Maybe I need to, get in here and start working through some stuff. But I thought, okay, I might want to transition into a high school setting one day. This is something that I can keep and I can refer to whenever I'm working with high school students. I also definitely, you want to keep this book. If y'all come across this, you want to keep this book. This is the framework for school counseling, you guys. Very beneficial things for you in here. And now this is the green version. This is the older version. But like I shared with you guys in prior videos, the red version is the newest version. And that's the 4th edition. And I actually keep that at my job. I even wanted to keep this group counseling book for school counselors because it has a lot of activities and groups that I can do with students. And it addresses pre-K through, I think, kindergarten through 12th grade. And another thing that I wanted to keep was my counseling children and adolescents. And this is just a reminder. I actually think that I forgot that I had this book and I really want to return it, but I end up keeping it. But anyway, it's still some really good beneficial things that is in here that you're able to read so that you can learn about how you can approach, students and counsel students. And the last thing that I want to bring up to you guys is that whenever you're doing your practicum and internship, if you can save that paperwork, you guys. I actually got this from the lady that registers, you guys. The name of it's not coming to me, so my apologies. But she registers you into the program. Not an advisor. It wasn't my advisor. It was somebody else. The secretary of the graduate studies program for school counseling. I actually requested for me to have all of my records from the school counseling, my school counseling program when I did my internship and practicum. So right here, it shows all of my hours that I put in. It shows, the different amount of people that I was able to work with. Also, at the end of each semester or like certain classes, I had to do a rubric where I graded myself, and then my advisor graded me as well. I wanted to get that information and I kept that because that shows how I progress. So that is something that you're going to want to, save and get that type of information. Now I'm going to show you guys how I organized my flash drive when I was saving my notes and projects and stuff in there. Okay, you guys, so this is what it looks like in my flash drive, okay? So I actually have a folder in my flash drive that I named Graduate Studies Papers. This is where I kept, my projects, my papers and notes and all those different type of things. PowerPoints, all of that within this folder on my flash drive. And as you can see, I organized it by class. So for instance, you have my lifespan class. Everything that had to do with lifespan is in this folder. Everything that has to do with career is in this folder, and so on. So I really like that I had separated that way. And also, like, if I went to a conference while being in graduate school, I had made a conference folder and I put like any type of things that I gathered from the conferences in this folder. Now, this is the ASCA templates. You guys can actually go on the ASCA website and you can download all their templates for free. So I highly suggest that you guys go and download the templates. They have use of times there. They have like other different things, other different templates like lesson plan templates and all of that there. So that's a good place to go and download those templates. And then I have some other things that's down here, which actually I need to go ahead and put it in a folder or make a folder for it. But these are like all my loose papers and PDFs that I came across or that I had to do. And so, yeah, this is what it looks like. So if you are not organized like this in your flash drive, I highly suggest that you try to organize it, because it makes things a whole lot easier for you to find. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thank you guys so much for your time. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.